Good morning, and welcome to another episode of the Mind Power Paradigm with Ellie
Natalie.
and you. So we're super excited that you're with us again this week, and we noticed that you've been sharing our tidbits with others, and we're so grateful for that. Spreading the word, spreading the message, teaching others as we also learn. And Natalie and I were talking a little bit this week about a real hot topic, which is I deserve this short term pleasure versus long term pleasure. What do you say, Nat?
I love this topic because it has to do with the mindset, right, Ellie? And this is with you, what you and I are all about. Everything starts in the mind. So using the language of "I deserve." Right. So I deserve. Generally, I tell clients that I work with that is something of giving yourself a treat or a reward, right? So we're not animals, we're not dogs, we're not trying to train ourselves. And food, if you're looking at it as a food, you know, vision of I deserve this, I had a hard day, I need the chocolate, or I've gone all week with, staying on my program, like I deserve the chips and guac. But instead, challenging yourself to say, I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to have my body feel whole. I deserve not to have heartburn. I deserve for my heart to get healthy, right? So flipping that language and not just looking for that instant hit of dopamine that many
Yeah.
people look for.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so true. And this deserve, and even the word deserve is so loaded because it evokes such deep emotional issues in some people. We don't know what people's experiences are, in terms of maybe their childhood, quote unquote, trauma or upbringing where you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. So then, of course, it becomes so loaded with, yeah, I do deserve it. I do deserve to have all of these things and I want them now. So there is that instant gratification in the body and the mind with the habituation and the emotional connection to that I deserve this now has no foresight into what if I don't eat this, or even in business, if I postpone doing this now, it will yield the results that I want later. And like I said, to me, this is such, I hear it, and I've seen clients cry over using the word deserve. It's so loaded.
It is. It is so loaded. And if you could really train the mindset, right? Because we're all wired and we're all trained. If you could really train the mindset to, number one, if you're looking at it as a health perspective, not to demonize food. If you're going to have a cookie or you're going to have a piece of cake or you're going to have something that's not on your program per se that you're following, then plan it. Plan instead of having it just say, I'm going to have this because I deserve it, and letting it be more of an emotional response
Mhm,
versus
mhm.
not demonizing it and just saying, yeah, I'm going to have a piece of cake because it's my birthday. Because what happens is if you plan it, you have the piece of cake in the days, and it's part of your plan, and you're not demonizing food. But when you get home from work and you just got fired, or you just got laid off, or the kids are driving you nuts, and you're like, you know what, I've been so good all day, I deserve this lasagna dish with half the bread of half the loaf of Italian bread. That's more of an emotional response. It's an instant hit of dopamine. And just taking 5 seconds to have the discussion with yourself, has this supported you in the past? And if the answer is no, then weaken that neuropath to say, I need to make a better choice, because what I truly deserve is to feed my body nourishing food. What I deserve is to feel healthy and continue on what I'm doing in my health and my life. Right. So
Mhm. You just hit another nerve. So I'm going to go down that because it was just like, whoa, this is something that I teach my clients in conversations that adults have with themselves. They tell themselves, oh, I've been good. So I've been good. And you know what? There really is no good or bad in all of this. I've been good is a very emotionally childish way of looking at, I hate to say this, people, it's an emotionally childish way of looking at the world. Who says, "Oh, I'm a good girl, I'm a good boy, I'm a good child." Those are children's responses.
Right.
So as an adult, we can tell ourselves, "You know what? You know, what would an adult say? Hey, you know what? I've followed my plan. I followed my work agenda. I followed this, stepping into adult. I've honored my integrity. I've honored my commitments to myself." And so therefore, um, I really feel like, you know what, I deserve a day off of work, or I deserve to have some sort of, let's say, if you are on a food plan that is very, I don't want to use the word restricted, but it's very, it's really put together in such a way that um, certain things can throw off the, what's the word I'm looking for, metabolism. So in that respect, then there's a choice in language where, you know what, I'm going to weigh this, and I'm not eating emotionally, or I'm not choosing this food emotionally. I am just deserving the choices that I make, and I'm not attaching any sort of good, bad, right, wrong to this, so that there's guilt, because that's just going to compound the whole thing later also with the deserving. My God, it's such an interesting.
So interesting. I love that. And, I support everything you just said because, yeah, it's, it's a pathway to more times than not even deserve a treat, but then it turns into a bender of binging or a bender of procrastination
Mhm,
in your business or a bender of, you know, um, putting off that relationship, communication structure that you've just been putting off, right? So like you
mhm.
start to binge on that action.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is so loaded. When you were working as a behavioral therapist, I bet you saw a lot of this. And what did you do at that time?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's truly just trying to take the individual and training them to have a different response,
Mhm,
right? So more times than not, responses to emotion, anger, they're all attached and they serve a function. But if we can replace the behavior, the chained behavior to that emotion, we can then start to weaken the neuropath that we don't generally want to have in our lives, and start to have an extinguished burst is what we call it, right? And sometimes that comes to a peak where it's very high emotion. Sometimes I clients will cry, when they're trying to break that neural path. It surfaces
mhm,
a lot of emotion, but that's what you call an extinguished burst. And you want that extinction burst because that means that neural path is dying off, as crazy as it sounds, and you're replacing that with another instant hit of dopamine that serves you in your life. So, stopping yourself and asking, what does my body need and what does my body want? Your
mhm,
body wants maybe to go to the bar and have drinks with the girlfriends and put off that, new website that you're building because that's an instant hit of dopamine. Your body wants the chocolate lava cake that's going to end in pop after and cookies, right? That's an instant hit of dopamine, but that's what your body wants. Your body needs maybe for you to go just take a 15-minute walk and walk away from the computer and come back to that website to keep building, or your body needs a wholesome plate of food, or
mhm.
15-minute meditation session, whatever that is. And generally what I tell my clients is that's that 5-second response to stop yourself, to weaken the neuropath, engage in what your body needs, and then come back and say, do I still want what my body wanted in that
Mhm,
moment? And
mhm.
generally the answer is always no.
Yeah, so true. It's that what do you call it? The stop,
Challenge choose.
challenge, choose, right?
So many different
And
ways to twist it. Yeah.
and I love tell me, like,
The
extinguish.
extinction burst. Yeah. And the extinction burst is when you're trying to, kill off a behavior that doesn't, it's not functional. It's not conducive to what you're doing in your life. And it's something that's been attached to you for very long. So generally you'll see that behavior actually increase. So think of a graph, it will peak all the way to the top before it bursts. And then it's that extinction burst back. And that's when the retraining of the new habits start in the brain. It's
Of
science.
course, yeah. Oh, I love that. Absolutely love that. So, What can we leave our listeners with today in terms of consciousness, awareness, mindfulness?
I think that's what it is, right? It's taking the strategies that Ellie and I have given you today and really starting to apply them, right? I think number one, we covered not demonizing food, and if you want a, let's not even call it a treat, let's call it a dessert, let's call it, a sweet dessert, a salty dessert, whatever you want to call it. Stop calling it a treat, because that's right. We give dogs treats, so you're not a dog, you're a human being, right? So just say I'm gonna have a dessert later and put it part of your plan, right? So stop demonizing food, but when you're having an emotional response or coming home after a long day, like truly have the conversation with yourself, what you're about to do in that moment. Stop, take a deep breath, and stop, challenge, choose. Or ask yourself, would she or he be making these the same decisions in the morning when this emotional response isn't here? And if the answer is
Right.
no, then start weakening that neural path, right?
Oh,
Um,
love this.
yeah, and truly just putting visuals out for yourself.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
recommend that a lot to my clients. Like, take a post-it note and write, would you make the same decision in the morning?
Hmm.
You know, what does your body need and what does your body want? And I know it sounds so crazy sometimes to
Hmm.
put visuals up in your house, like
Hmm.
kind of loony, right? But it's not, because if you're a visual person, it takes you from that unconscious decision that wants that instant hit of dopamine, and it takes you to a conscious state where now you can actually think.
Yeah, yeah. And we do know that visuals work for everyone, okay? Because it speaks right to the subconscious. You see it often enough and it works, you know? So, and that goes in terms of business. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to increase your income, also put that visual, put those numbers up there, have it, see it every single day. Let your brain go to that. It really does do that. The same thing with health, with prosperity, and people who are looking for relationships. Same kind of things. Principles are basically the same, right? So,
Absolutely, absolutely. It applies anywhere: relationships, wealth, business, health. Uh,
mm,
it's visualization. I know you work heavily with your clients on visualization.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, we covered a lot in a short amount of time.
Love chatting with you.
I love talking to you. Girlfriend, have an awesome, awesome weekend. And everybody, thank you for being here with Natalie, myself, and you. And catch us next Friday. And we'll see you soon. Email us with any questions if you want. You can leave comments on the YouTube platform. And remember to hit like and subscribe. All right, then you'll get new news every week. All right, ciao, everybody. Ciao, Natalie. Thank you.